reflect those of WSMN, its owners, and/or associates.
Lisa and Robin are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robin on the mic.
Welcome back to the second hour of Lisa and Robin on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live as well as YouTube. You cannot listen on Facebook today because someone hijacked Robin's personal page, and now we are down on Facebook.
If you have any power and influence on Facebook,
do something.
I am requesting your help. I will buy you a tomahawk steak dinner.
Get back her Facebook.
Yes. One of my favorite, I don't know where I put it now. One of my favorite quotes is, "I'm only a hello away."
I love that.
Just sweet.
Yeah.
That's a random thought. There you go.
So you must have relationships like this. I have friendships where I cannot talk to somebody for a year, and then when you connect, there is no like, where have you been or what's going on, but you're in the middle of your conversation that you left off, sort of.
Yes.
And I have a number of those friendships, and I really consider those true friendships because there's no obligation or expectation, and if something takes over for a reason, there's never any. But I love those kinds of friendships.
You just understand that life is, during the break, because I haven't really been on social media, and I just have been having so much to do, and
it's been stolen.
My only is trying to get back into it. So I'm like, who's got time for Instagram and who's got time for TikTok? I got to get this thing going, I want my memories back. I want my pictures back. But anyway, just at the break, my friend, he's a Green Beret, Special Forces, and I just reached out to tell him happy birthday. And so when he responded, and I'm like, man, it just makes me feel good inside. And so I just texted him back, and I just said, I am so proud of you, because he's the one who brought all the helicopters in after that flood in North Carolina and stuff. Man, he's like, this thing is blown up and expanded, and literally like a business of like trying to
help people.
Yeah. So I just said, I just want to let you know I'm so proud of you. And I said, I also want you to come up here on the radio station, because I want to tell the whole world how good you are. But yeah, so that was like, I haven't seen him physically since
July?
Babson College.
Yeah.
At that event. Was that 2 years ago?
This summer it will be 2 years.
But you pick up. Like, you just
exactly
pick up those.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I just feel like I feel like I hold a lot of people in my heart. Like, that's that kind of friendship, like you were talking about. It's not that I don't think about you, and like, we don't have to talk every day. We have the kind of relationship that holding our memories, our experiences, or just knowing that you're that type of person that if I call and we're going to pick up, like, to me, that's comforting.
Well, I had reached out at Christmas, and I was saying, because I didn't send cards, so I was calling, leaving messages, sending video text messages so that I could see my face and hear a voice. And one of the people responded, "You're always so good. I can't tell you how many times I think of you, but because I haven't spoken to you, I don't reach out.
Yeah.
And you were always so good about that. Thank you." And then, how are you? How's John? All of this other stuff. And then we ended up chatting, and we're like, we have to get together. We say that all the time, but we have to get. And so, I never take offense to the fact that we're not. I know that they know that I think about them often, that I'm only wishing them the best, that I keep up with them as best I can on social media to, they're never in my feed, even though I don't want them to be.
But how cool is that to have people like that in your life? There's no expectation. There's no expectation. You guys are doing busy, and that's what I think is just beautiful, is like, there isn't any expectation of that friendship. It's just friendship. It's a value for value. It's, I appreciate you, I see you, and we're here, and let's connect when we can connect. And there's just no strings. I think that's beautiful. We put so much expectations.
So we're talking about a love letter to yourself, And if you wrote a love letter to yourself today, what would it say?
Oh, mine?
Mhm.
You go first. I didn't write an actual love letter.
I know
to
I
myself.
didn't write a love
So,
letter
like,
myself either.
I need my 30 seconds.
Okay, so I will go. I love that you continue to try despite all of your failures. I love that you don't let failure define you. And I love that you always continue to chase after success and your dreams. That's what I love about me.
I guess I would, if I were to write a letter to myself, I would probably say, I'm proud of you. I think that you've worked really hard to create a beautiful life. Oh, I don't want to get emotional.
No, we like it.
I love the fact that you give grace. I love the fact that you intentionally try to bring joy and happiness. I think that you try to do your life in a place of love. I like that you're soft. I like the relationships that you've given to us. I like what you've exposed me to. I love the fact that you're taking the time to heal that little girl inside of you.
That's a big one.
And I love that you are curious. Don't ever stop being curious. Don't ever stop looking for the good. And everything is an experience. And what kind of experience do you want to have? Chris and I were talking about that the other night. And he said something mundane. When I'm cooking, or we go downstairs for dessert or something, I don't like when people make a meal and they eat standing up.
Really?
I don't like people standing up. And I'm like, I don't know why that is, because he was talking about it, and he said, oh, yeah, I've been guilty of that. He says that his mom and I are similar when it comes to food. We put a lot of attention and a lot of love into cooking. But he said, yeah, there were times when I was growing up that, I would stand there and I would wolf a sandwich down and not even, taste it. And he's like, but she was graceful about it. And but there's also difference, lunch when you're coming home from work and you got to eat and stuff. But I don't like when I've made the time to make a dessert and you're so hungry or you're just sitting there eating it. And I said, because it's an experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like standing up and shoveling it in quickly, not that he's, it's not taking the time. You're not. And I said, I don't give you any grief about it. And I said, but I do encourage you to. And I said, but do you know why I do it? Do you know why I insist that you sit down? Even if it's for dinner, even if it's for lunch, you're doing a snack. And I said, because I know that you work really hard. I know that you're busting your ass out there. And so when you come in and make a sandwich, I want you to sit down.
Hey, dude.
I'm sorry, we're doing a live radio show, but there's nobody else here.
And that person doesn't work here anymore. Yeah, no, she doesn't work here.
WSMN, we're on the live radio right now, but anyway. Yes, thank you. You too.
Peace out.
Take care.
Yeah, so
I had to grab my phone just in case we should be locking that door.
I know.
I can't hear it. Anyway, well, that was crazy. What a weird week.
Well, at first I didn't look over because I thought it was Jim Lawrence. Because sometimes he pops in and grabs something to drink. Do you want me to go run and lock the door?
I'll do it just real quick.
Okay.
So I said the reason why I want you to sit down and do that is because I know that you won't take the time to give yourself that little bit of pause and reset. So if I can give that to you, that's my gift to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to nourish and feed your body and your soul at the same time. And that's why I want you to sit down. He's like, shit. I didn't know that.
I am guilty of doing that.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. So Robin's going to go lock the door so we're not startled again. When I am guilty of doing that, and I will say that I'm guilty of doing it because I don't want to dirty a plate, or I don't want to, then it's a laziness. And I want to have to wipe up the table after I've made crumbs or something. So I sometimes stand over the sink and eat something. So do you want to walk through and just make sure nobody's in there? Okay. Yeah, that was scary. We forget that we're all alone in the radio station at the moment and we should lock our doors. I'm a big lock your door person. I've locked myself out of a house many, many times because I've locked the door inadvertently out of habit, just running out to the car and then I lock myself out. So today's episode is talking about loving yourself. And I ask our dear listeners, give yourself a moment and tell yourself what you love about yourself, what you absolutely cherish in yourself. And if you have a hard time, because sometimes people have a hard time with that, you can start by thinking, what would my best friend say they love about me when I'm gone? What will they miss the most? And that's an easy way to get into that, because sometimes you need to see yourself from the outside, because we talked about this when we were talking about options for our TED Talk. We were talking about
Johnny just texted and he just said, do I need to come and provide protection for the most beautiful women I know?
Yes, you
I'm
do.
always packing heat.
We got startled because at first I could see the periphery of someone walking in.
He says, by the way, I love myself. And Johnny, I love that you love yourself, because we love you too. You are a beautiful spirit inside and out. But I did do a little recon mission. I cleared the office, I cleared the other studio, and I locked the door. But I think there were 3 pieces of mail.
In which you got punched in the face.
Get out.
Out. And I was like, so the part of me that gets, so one of the things that we can talk about is I get really calm in a crisis. It's a trauma response from years of childhood trauma. It's a trauma response. If something bad's happening, you want me around, because I actually get pretty calm in a crisis. And I was going through how, this is so awful, how I was going to beat the crap out of that poor man. What was going to be a weapon and whatever, because he was closest to you, but he was directly across from me.
Well, I was like, my purse is sitting right there. And I said, I had my hand on my phone, and I'm like, okay, which way? I'm going to go first. I'm going to throw my phone at him, try to hit him right in the forehead, and grab my purse. Like,
the purse is the least of it, but we would have.
My credit card's like, I've already been hacked. Like, don't get me started.
I know.
Shots fired. I'm already triggered. I'm ready to come out of the seat.
Just so you know, you are never weaponless. Like, right at this moment, we are technically not Second Amendment ready,
Dude,
right? But anything can be a weapon.
You see these boots, man?
So I watched the movie. We're going to go off on a tangent here, but I watched the movie where the ship gets abducted by the pirates, and there's a whole
Pirates of the Caribbean.
No, the Somali pirates. It's a true story and they kidnapped the captain. So
I feel like
I was a pain in the neck, because the first however many minutes of that movie, while they were being abducted, I'm like, there's 35 of you. Everything's a weapon. I know some of you are going to get hurt, but why?
Dude, I'd be grabbing everything. I'm like, I would even be grabbing this thing and try to get it around your neck. I'll throw that mouse at you.
But I do get calm in a crisis, because it's like, it's going down.
Yes.
We're going to have to play that song.
I got to get centered. I'm going to send you a little
But I'm
video.
glad we didn't have to get all crazy in here for a moment.
When it actually comes down to it, I feel like I am calm, because I used to like working in the medical field. When we had an emergency, I could get really calm. Funny story. Chris and I were not living together, and it's snowy and yucky, and Kayla and I decided we were going to run down to Shaw's and get some stuff to make cookies and like brownie sundaes or something. So we're doing all this stuff. My cashier, he's like high school, and there's like 2 people in front of me. So we're in line, and I'm watching him, and I said to Kayla, that kid does not look good. He looks like he's going to pass out. And she's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. Literally, his head hit the counter, and he fell down. Of course, I run over there. I have him in my lap. And I'm talking to him. I had gotten his name, and I was asking somebody, hey, guys, can you guys get me ice packs, or can you get some wet paper towels or cold so I can put it on his head and the back of his neck? So I'm talking in, and Chris walks in Now, he doesn't know what we're doing because we didn't have any plans to hang out together. He was busy doing something else. So he'd gotten done with his meeting and is coming in. So he's just literally walking in shawls, and he knows that, I'm not a big Shaw's fan. So he never expects to see me there. So he sees Kayla, and then he walks around to the end of the aisle. And he sees me on the floor, and he's like, "You've got to be kidding me. What are the chances?"
That you're rescuing someone at the supermarket.
I'll save you. I'll save you. He's like, good Lord.
Yeah, and it's interesting because I think so. Like, but now the adrenaline dump that has now, because I could feel, and you've felt this, like you avoid a car accident or something, you feel all of the adrenaline dumping into your body, but you're not ready to move yet. Because you now need to know there's nowhere for me to run. There's nowhere for you to run in here. We're fighting. We're fighting out of this.
I'm not going out. I will not be the one going out that window.
I wouldn't have fire if I had to.
It's too high.
It's not. It's not. We're on the second floor, not the third floor, right? I know, but what you do is
you jump out on that ledge right there.
Yeah, you just kind of like fall and bend your knees and fall on the ground. It's better than being like from a fire perspective. I'm going out the window, but that dude, I'm not going out the window. But I was going to crack his skull with my very handy Aruba.
Yes, that's good.
Metal container, coffee thing. But
I could choke him with my fur.
He would just rub up against it like a cat. That
this
thing's
is
too
from
soft.
a white fox.
A real fox?
Alaska.
A real fox?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Well, I think they probably ate it.
Hopefully. Yeah, they probably used all of it.
From Haines, Alaska.
Oh.
I've had that for a hot minute.
Yeah. Lips. But I was hysterical the whole time because I think I was taught when I was younger, no matter what happens, don't get in the van willingly. Don't get in the car willingly. Don't let someone put you in a scenario where you're now being taken.
Yeah.
That I always used to joke that follow the trail of pee. I'm peeing on them because that's going to be alarming. Oh, we'll let her go really quickly. Oh, geez, she's wet. What's happening?
Just puke all over yourself, like smell nasty and roll in the mud.
Yeah. So one thing I love about myself is I'm calm in a crisis.
Yes. Yes.
Speaking of loving yourself.
One thing I love about you is that you're always smiling and you're always ready to laugh. You have a joyous energy about you.
Oh, thank you. I'm trying because I could be the complainy pants person to myself. Like we joked around that, are your gratitudes working if you do them 3 minutes in the morning and 3 minutes at night, if for 16 hours and 54 minutes you're complaining? No, your gratitudes aren't going to work.
Right.
But, and the same thing with affirmations. If you look at yourself in the mirror, I love you today, and you're kind of saying it like that.
Yeah.
You're probably not going to feel it. Yeah. Half of that is feeling what it feels like to love yourself, feeling what it feels like to be kind to yourself. And if you're not there, think of something you love. It can be an animal because we have such unconditional love for our animals, right? Think of an animal and think of how you feel just loving that animal, and then redirect it to your sweet soul, even though it may not be sweet at the moment. Just give yourself the benefit of knowing that we all have good and bad in us. We all have smart and dumb in us. We all have, anger. We all have joy. We all have all of those things, and you can love all of you. You can love all the parts of you, but just try to practice the better ones more often.
I had a meme. I was going to see if I could try to find it. That speaks to that. What's that one? I'll do it later. But it's true. It's actually, we all have good and evil, the light and dark. And the meme I was trying to get is the wolf. And there's like two spirits. It's one is the wolf's face is split in shadow. So one is dark and one is light. And it's talking about which one you feed. I think learning to love yourself and letting go of negative things and don't start serving you. It's the same thing as being intentional. I'm choosing a good movie about self-love, and you won't think it is. It's The Wrong Missy.
I think that movie's hilarious.
But the way that she carries herself, like she has a lot of NFG, but she has the confidence and the ability in herself, and even though she knows that she's coming out awkward and weird to other people, she kind of just ignores it. Like, it is over the top ridiculous like that, but you just think about her energy through the whole thing. She's choosing to reframe the narrative. Like when he's in the bathroom and he's trying to get out of the window and he's like, I just was trying to surprise you. And like, so her comment lets me know she's not attaching to it. You can almost see like there's a little bit of hurt in her eye, but she's not attaching to it. And sometimes we have to be that, I don't know, bold, ostentatious in our own mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think that you can fully say, I think you'll get the full impact of what it feels like to be grateful when you actually take the time to feel grateful for the thing that you're asking for. I'll give you an example. I'm grateful for my home. We have put a lot of energy into it. I am proud of it because it's a home that we elevated. We took a risk and we said, we both came from places where that was way out of our reach. Only wealthy people had that, or only we had these stereotypes and we didn't match that stereotype. So when Chris and I decided that we're going to build a life together under one roof, I want it to be this. I want it to be something that says, yes, we accomplished this. What's next? If we can do this, what else can we accomplish? So when I say I'm grateful for my home, I actually think about it in the evenings before he gets home. I think we've been very intentional about the lighting, how we light our rooms. And
your home is stunning. Your home is so beautiful and comforting.
Oh, thank you. We have speakers almost in every room. And so I put on this slow jazz. It's just a slow, sexy, soft jazz. And it's not loud enough that I said to Chris, I like it at the volume where it's low enough that you can't hear it, but you have to feel it. And so when I walk in through the rooms so it's very intentional. You cannot help but to be calm. And I feel like, wow, I feel myself taking a deep breath, but creating that environment. So when I say I'm grateful for it, that has created an emotion inside of me. Like I literally feel my chest expanding. So when I say I'm grateful for it, I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my friends. I pick a specific memory about you that makes me smile. I think about us rollerblading or doing something absolutely ridiculous that makes me laugh. And I feel that joy, and that's what makes me grateful. That's how I do my gratitudes. You have to feel it. Don't say it. Feel it.
And that's how I started. We've talked on the show about how I lost my faith when I lost my father. And when I came back to it, it felt odd at first to pray. Because one of my chief complaints was when you pray for someone not to die and they die, your prayers are not answered. Right? So then I started realizing, well, I'm sure a million people pray. I'm sure people pray that there's no war, bombs won't be dropped on their head, that their child won't be sick. There's so many prayers. And so I came back into praying by thanking. So instead of my prayer being asking for something, it was praying that I was thankful for something. Thank you for giving me. And then I would go through the things. And if I learned to reword. So if I was worried about you and I wanted to say pray for you, I would say thank you for bringing Robin into my life. Thank you for keeping her safe. Thank you. And I would do it from that perspective. And that would make me feel calmer than when I was younger and I would ask and no one would answer.
Yes.
Or I felt like nobody was answering.
And you got up into that, like the dichotomy of like, okay, well, you don't want them to die, but at the same time, so I had reframed my language. I pray, Lord, that you will, that your will be done and that they will rest in peace and comfort. And, help us to be prepared to fill that void. Because the truth of the matter is, I mean, if there is really, they're going to they're going to be out of pain and suffering. They're going to a different place. It's, I think death is always harder for the people that we leave behind.
Yes.
And give us the grace.
Yes.
So I don't want to change it, but you're right. Like, I started changing my prayers, not asking, but thanking. And because there is, I don't know where it is. It's in the Bible. Ask and you shall receive. And if you've prayed that it's already been delivered, that in having that confidence. See, I think it's the belief. It's the belief and the confidence that draws our desires to us. And I think that's a little bit of power of manifesting. When you can feel it, you believe. So I always say, thank you, Lord, for keeping my kids safe. Thank you for keeping me and my loved ones free of sickness and disease and, all of these things. I don't ever ask, can you keep them safe? Thank you, Lord. My kids are out on the road tonight, and I thank you that you have their back. I literally talk to God like that. Like, he is my, he's my wingman.
And so when you go, we'll bring this kind of back into, are you making sure that you love yourself? You can talk to yourself that same way, too.
Yes.
Thank you for getting up and going to work when I know you didn't want to go to work today and you just wanted to snuggle in bed with the cat on a snowy day. Thank you for preparing meals to nourish your body. You can be thankful for yourself if you can't find your way originally into love, because you've been really hard on yourself for a long time. And
so last night, Chris has been, he ate, he hasn't been super hungry this week. You want me to read it?
Yeah.
All right.
Because Johnny's responding. But
all right. So last night the HVAC guys were there yesterday, and I had started making my red sauce at like 10:30, 11. He comes upstairs and he's like, "What are you cooking?" He's like, "Are you making lunch?" I'm like, "No, I'm just getting ready for dinner." And so anyway, Chris got home and we're catching up and stuff, and I was like, "Are you hungry?" And he's like, "I'm not super hungry." And I said, "That's too bad. I made an amazing meal." I said, I impressed myself. And I high-fived myself. I'm like, I impressed myself. I said, "This meal's going to be so good. I did such a good job. You are not going to want to miss this dinner." But see, I've started talking to myself like, why not be proud of it? That's not cocky or arrogance. I mean, I added my humor to it because he knows me.
Yes.
He knows I'm not coming from a place of that. But I'm like, you just kind of try to change the energy and bring that vibration of. And it was amazing.
So when you sent me a picture of it, I'm like, I wish I was over there for dinner. I was looking at my my meal like, I was excited for it until I saw yours. So Johnny had said that he's thankful for his toothbrush. He's thankful for his massage shower head. Thankful for his Advil. And thank you for his 5% yogurt, and he is thankful for everything in his life, even the good and the bad. It's hard, but that's a really key point, to be thankful even for the bad, because that teaches us something. And then he said, Matthew 7:7-11, ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you will find. Knock and it will be open to you. For everyone who asks receives, and the one who seeks finds. And to those who knocks it will be opened. Thank you. I love how he just all on the top of his head.
I love it.
Thank you, Johnny.
I love you, Johnny. That is why we love you.
And so I'm actually really loving the snow because I want to go skiing.
So I'm going to play something real quick. And I sent this to my mom. The other day. And because I don't think about how many times when we get older, does somebody tell us that they're proud of them? That they're proud of us.
Right.
We don't hear that anymore. So my mom just is making a big move in her life, and at 74. And so I just said to her, I'm so, I don't know if you can hear it. I'll try to. It's this little kid.
This isn't a movie.
He believed in himself, and you can too.
Oh man, you gonna put it on me like that?
You can do anything that you want. You can get singing lessons, get a better job, make more money. You could be even like rich. You could live in the White House someday. You could be president.
Me?
Do what you want to do. It's not up to other people.
It's true.
It's up to you.
spoken from like the cutest little 5-year-old.
So I said, "Good morning, Mama. I saw this last night and thought it was so sweet. This is my message to you. I want you to live your very best life. I want to help you and support you in that. I love you very much. I'm proud of you." And she said, out of the mouth was the babes. Thank you for your support, blah, blah, blah. And it was teary,
But I do think I love that because I do think she's loving herself. I think she's taking care of
Yes.
herself in a way that she had previous told herself she didn't deserve because of a reason or
Right.
excuse. And it niggled at her in the back of her mind long enough that she knew she had to take action. Not just talking about what wasn't working,
Right.
but taking action on what would work.
yes.
And I'm very
And just
proud of her,
taking
too.
taking the chance to actually say, my life is my life. And think about what's stopping us. And truly, when we answer the question, I think most people will say, we are the only people that are standing our way, whether it's from a limiting mind belief, whether it's how we've been taught to grow up. We have the power at any second to change the narrative in our head. And so I was like, why not? She might. I'm like, I never thought about it that way because I just know my mom. But when I send messages like that to, I send messages to my ex-husband. I would send him for Father's Day, for Father's Day, for his birthday, at Christmas and different times. I didn't do it for him.
Mhm.
I did it for me. I did it because I decided that that's what I did it because that's who I want to be. I don't want to live in anger. I'm happy. You're happy. We went through some nasty stuff together, but it doesn't mean that we have to carry that anger anymore. I truly, he's the father of my kids. I truly wish you a beautiful life. I'm sorry that we didn't have all the parts at the right time or however. I'm sorry, but I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful for the time that we did have together. And I'm like, so I can look at that, or I can, how many people go through a divorce? One of my friends says it best. He's like, I don't like the word divorce. I talk about it's Liberation Day. And he's like, my ex-wife and I celebrate our Liberation Day. We actually can be friends. And so, I do those things, and those are little tools for me to let go of negativity. It doesn't serve me.
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, that's one decision to say,
I
I'm going
think
to love me.
the beginning of a love letter to yourself is to forgive yourself for the things that you've done wrong. Because no one goes through life not doing anything
Yeah.
wrong. No one. We all say the wrong thing. We all do the wrong thing. We do the right thing at the wrong time. We are not our best, most shining selves. We actually do harmful things that we know
Right.
are harmful out of anger or resentment or bitterness or jealousy or any of those horrible emotions. But we are human, and everyone is human. And the first thing we can do to really love ourselves is forgive ourselves for that part of us.
we're intelligent animals just trying to figure it out. Just trying to figure it out.
In real time.
Yeah.
On a spinning
yes.
globe. On a spinning
Sometimes
globe.
under pressure.
Always under pressure, it seems like.
But I was kind of, when I was trying to make my TED Talk, one of the things, because I like to have the humor in it, but I was just thinking about, we think that we want all of these things, and we think about, even just like the idea of getting pregnant and having a baby. How many women or young couples are, oh my God, we're going to have a baby, want a baby, want a baby. I tried for 6 years to have a baby. What they don't tell you and they don't talk about is, in the things that you don't think about when you're in that phase, try to teach 2-year-olds how to tie their shoe, and they have no understanding of what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh my God, I'm not equipped. I'm not prepared. How do you teach somebody? I, as a new mom, I thought about that. Oh my God, now I'm responsible for teaching them how to tie their shoe.
You're responsible for all the guidance.
Yeah, so learning, give ourselves grace. We're just learners. Learners.
And so Johnny says we're all creeps, weirdos, and we're all sucky sometimes. The difference is that we grow and improve it, or we don't.
We just had a reminder of that.
Yeah.
Our dark side just showed up.
Yeah. And
Lock that sucker out.
black eye and all. Because I'm
His
like,
red eyes.
his red eyes, but his black eye.
Well,
I
they
mean,
were bloodshot.
I know, but did you
Yes.
see the bruise underneath it? It's like,
Well, I couldn't tell because there was a lot of red under there too. Like,
yeah. Well, I was thinking he's going to get another black eye in a second. This isn't like, I hope this doesn't go down.
I have to say I was a little scared walking in that closet. There's a closet right there, but between George's
That's why I was
door-
like, do you want me to do it?
and I was like, well, I did open it.
But I do
just
feel like
slowly.
you got a little street in you.
Oh,
I've got wet cat in a bath
dude,
that doesn't
I am
want to take a
Southern.
bath.
I got some ghetto in me, girl.
I just don't want to use it. I don't want to use the city street in me. I'm glad he left peacefully. It
Yes.
wasn't, I've thought about that in the back of my mind, and I can't believe, we've really got to lock that door.
Yeah, he must have come up and checked the doors. Wait, that's not him. I
Oh,
was like,
yeah.
saw somebody standing out there, and I was like, well, I know. We digress.
We digress, guys.
I was trying to think. We've got some. I have a lot of things on love.
So I think it's so much better to love. It's easier to love other people when you're in love with yourself because
Yes.
you're coming from a different place, and then you're not looking for anyone else to give you what you don't have. So part of, I think, what a lot of long-term relationships and relationships with parents and your spouse and your kid, all of that is you want to be loved. The basic premise for all of us is we want to be seen, heard, understood, and loved.
Mm-hmm.
Right? We all have that basic thing, whether we're psychopaths or we're the average Joe. We types get.
He's like, I'm not going suicidal. I'm going out.
Right.
I don't want to deal with the inside. We'll just take it out on the outside.
Who doesn't
world.
love my art?
Yes. But you think about the way we respond sometimes into the world is like we're taking what we feel out on the world.
That's why if you can feel love and project love,
Yeah.
you can often receive love.
Think
because
about why all these people, the keyboard warriors, go to bat. Like, why is there so much fighting on social media, especially around politics, all of the stuff? Just they getting triggered about, genders and like
I think
people
that's the
look for
anonymous.
reason.
I think so I cannot tell you how many times I would have someone text me something and I would immediately pick up the phone. Like, if you think you're texting that, get your big boy pants on or your big girl pants on
Right.
and say it to me.
my face.
Say it to my face. Let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
Don't just be throwing jibes at me via text message.
But you
and I think
about,
that's
like,
also
but
what it
pe-
is on the
yes,
the
but
messages.
People thrive on putting negative messages out there, and I'm like, man, what kind of space do you do? Like, what kind of space, energy space inside of your body when you're always looking to fight? It's because you're miserable on the inside.
But I also think the medium is sort of set up for, just like our news, it gives you 28 minutes of all of the horrors all around the world, and it gives you the feel-good donkey story.
Gives you the 15-second at the end about,
Right.
oh my God, somebody
Right.
got rescued.
And so that's social media on steroids in content that we're putting forward all this energy and effort into these platforms. It used to be that if you wanted a television channel, you would have to pay for you would have to pay for writers, pay for shows, and you would use the money from advertising to get that. Now we have a platform in which we're all vying for attention. And negative always gets attention, right? Because we don't want to be, we're negatively biased because we know that's where the danger lies.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're all geared to that. So, they know the headline that has the negative connotation of the headline gets read before the positive headline gets read.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just perpetuating that part of ourselves that needs to protect ourselves from the dude walking into the studio uninvited.
Well, it's kind of like what Johnny was talking about when we're talking about, we are primarily, it's pain or pleasure. And so we do have to do, there's a part of our ego, I think, I think if you're divided into two parts you have your ego and your spirit. And I think your ego is good for protecting you. That's where your alert is, because judgment is a good thing. When it's-
Discernment is a good thing.
So
Yep.
Well, yes.
Keeps you safe.
When you use it as a tool, but when you use it as a weapon, then it's not good. But when you use judgment, I mean, our judgment, it's our instinct to say, oh, this is a safe environment, or this is a safe person, this is not safe. That it's good that way. Where it becomes a weapon is when we're operating in our wounds, and we're in our traumas, and we're allowing that to dictate who we are, or who we are becoming.
Well, so I years and years ago read kind of it was trying to explain a story about when you have a wounded puppy and he bites you. You understand that he's hurt and he doesn't, he's operating
That's
from
their instinct is to
right.
That's their
Hey,
protective.
that's my hurt paw. Don't touch my paw. The biting. Where if that puppy wasn't hurt with the paw, he wouldn't have bit you. And so we understand this idea that hurt people, as that saying goes. And that's where we try to come up with not operating from a place of hurt. So that's where they tell you need to heal that stuff so that you're not always operating that knee-jerk, instinctual, you touched my boo-boo, I'm gonna punch you in the face.
I thought you were going to say you touched my boob. I'm going to punch you in the face. Depends on who it is. Be like, wait. I know Johnny's listening. I did offer. I'm just saying. One of the quotes that I love, what I love in is I try to be intentional about thinking about. I guess maybe I am doing a social experiment. The more happy and energy that I can put out, what else can I attract that to me? So I guess,
and I think just like when you do things for other people, you feel good.
yes, we're
Making
created that way.
Right. We are created that way. So if you're constantly trying to go around leaving a piece of good somewhere, you only feel better about yourself.
Yeah, you think about what are you leaving behind? If I were off of this planet today, how are you going to be remembered?
So I've come from a frame, and it's like I'm having another birthday, had some health things, so now I'm in this mode that I don't like this mode that I'm in, but I started to say, what will I miss most about being on the earth? Right? And it's like, God, there's because what I can do is I can complain about, we can always complain about traffic. We can always complain about the weather. We
And
can always
bills.
complain about the bills. But what am I going to miss? What am I going to, in the stars, right? What am I going to be like, Earth? What am I going to miss? And when
Connection.
you're going to miss your people, right? You're going to miss sunsets. You're going to miss flowers blooming. You're going to miss the softness of your pet. You're going to miss Doritos. I will miss Doritos or ice cream or cookies.
Yes, you're going to miss, but you're also going to miss experiences with people.
the people that you love, right? The memories. And so when the things that I miss the most, I need to insert those the most.
Yes.
So that I'm having enough of them to last me throughout this lifetime.
Memories. That's probably my biggest. And that's one of the reasons why Facebook is so upset I'm so upset. I have so many memories on there since 2009. I've got pictures that I don't know that I still have on my computer of my babies.
Yeah.
Of different points in my life, especially of my first fur baby.
Bosco?
Ranger.
Ranger.
I have him on there, but I also have a picture of Bosco. I have pictures of the kids sitting on my lap. We were hiking and I have the kids sitting on my lap, and Kayla and I think are nose to nose, and Jonah's all snuggled in. But I also have a picture of, this 112-pound chocolate lab sitting on my lap, and he's looking at me like nose to nose.
Yeah.
Things like that you can't ever get back. And I
Yeah.
just, but Chris is like, no, those memories live in you. And I'm like, but that's what drives me. Today's actions are tomorrow's memories. And if that doesn't hit you right in the forehead about my actions today are going to leave a memory. So what was your last interaction with your spouse? What was the last interaction with your kids? If it stopped right now,
What was the last memory of you? Yeah. And you don't want to
Yeah.
regret that. You don't want to regret those.
That I didn't take the vacation, that I didn't do this. I snapped at my kids and I got irritated and fussy because they're running behind, or I had to go and do this and I had to go and do that. I had to go make dinner because somebody else was, nobody else showed up for it, or my wife was working and I didn't have time. Hey, I got the opportunity to provide for my family. Or I got the opportunity to cook with my wife tonight, to cook dinner in the kitchen with my wife tonight.
So you know how I love that movie? Is it Stranger Than Fiction with Will Ferrell? Have you ever seen that movie? So he,
Oh, you did say it. And
Yeah,
I need
so-
to write it down.
we're gonna we should watch it together.
Okay, let's do it. All right, you got the pen.
So, he is knowingly going to his death because there is a writer narrating his story, and so he all of a sudden picks up her narration, and she's like, "Little did he know that it would end with his imminent death," and he's like, "What? What death? When? Why? Right?"
Headwear.
So the whole I'm not going to give. It's an old movie. I'm giving away the end of the movie. Well, the writer doesn't kill him because she figures out he's real, and that he willingly is going to his death because he feels like his death is worthy. But he makes the days before his death so mundane that they're perfect. He has dinner with his love. They whisper to each other in bed. It would seem just another ordinary. Those are the moments, we cherish, is sometimes in the, snuggling on the couch, your legs wrapped over them, just there's beauty in the big, huge memories, and there's also a beauty in the small, calm, mundane memories, if we can try to hold them all. Someone on the show to talk about heart, head, health, coherence. So they are learning so much
I
about
like
the body. So we thought everything happened in the mind. We thought the brain was the brain, which it is. The brain is the brain. But we have learned that the stomach is a second brain. And that's why when you feel intuition, you feel it in your stomach. Your stomach provides an instinctual element to the body so that it can pump up through the vagus nerve to the brain to release cortisol, to release adrenaline, and that is, the mind is where the thinking happens, but the body is where another reaction is happening.
And your heart, like Deborah was
And
saying.
your heart is actually
40,000, is it 40,000 neurons?
Yep.
That's powerful.
And that your heart actually emits an electrical field that's like 6 feet from your body. It's so many feet from your body. And if we realize that,
It's 3 feet.
and
But
we
I- but
operate it from it, we can operate in a different, almost like on a different realm. It's reality, but it's just a slightly different reality. And
It's
so-
a different vibration. And so it seems like a different reality because we're not used to it. But we have to train our minds. It's just like a runner, or it's just like any kind of athlete, or it's anybody. It's who was the guy who practices 500 free throws
the
a
basketball
day?
player, yep.
So he on the chance that he's ready when it's time, you practice. That's what makes you good at it, and that's what helps change your narrative. Like, we change the world when we can change our view. And I'm just encouraging people just to be open. How can I make my life better? How can I receive more joy? How can I love me more? Because I think the more that we learn to love ourselves, the more we love our people.
And we can be better when we love ourselves. Then we're not ashamed and angry and disappointed in ourselves, and we can make better decisions because we're not operating from a place where, I feel ashamed, so I have to have a drink because I don't want to feel ashamed.
Right.
We can operate, if we're trying to operate from a position of love, start loving ourselves, and then putting that love outward, start forgiving ourselves. And also, if we can remember that love cannot be divided. You can't
love
have
that.
love. You can't have love. Love can only be multiplied. It cannot be halved. So if the loving yourself doesn't mean you take love from your children to love yourself. It doesn't mean you take love from your spouse to love yourself or your friends. You have enough. You can actually only multiply it, because you can love your children, and loving to yourself adds to that. It multiplies that love. And it would be interesting if we all practiced what the world would look like, with more love.
Yeah. And I think some people, it goes back to the thing I said last week and maybe even the week before. Be intentional. I challenge you to try to make 3 people smile.
Per day.
Yes, per day.
Per day.
Just start there.
You made me smile, so I'm one.
There you go.
Thank you for listening to Lisa and Robin on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, YouTube, as well as Spotify. And please, you crazy hackers, give us our Facebook page back. Until next week, we love you guys. You guys are amazing, and we'll see you then.
Our own social media platform.